Andrew here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the brand new release from Evergrey, Theories of Emptiness. First track I'm going to talk about is Falling from the Sun. And this one is first of two must listens because I thought it was just brilliant the way it kicks off the album, so much energy, and I felt like it was a bit of a throwback to the Inner Circle, which I thought was kind of interesting because this is the last album Jonas Ekdahl, the drummer, will be touring with the band. He'll still be doing stuff with Evergrey, but I thought that was kind of interesting because the Inner Circle is the first album that Jonas was on. So I kind of thought, well, maybe that was kind of the idea, to do a little bit of stuff from when he first arrived at the band and kind of connect this era of his with Evergrey, from the Inner Circle to Theories of Emptiness. So I kind of thought maybe that was intentional, maybe that's just what I'm hearing, but I did get some other Inner Circle vibes off this album. But anyways, First Must Listen contains a ridiculously hooky melody between the chorus illumination of Tom England's vocals and Rickard Zander's keyboards. The melody coming together was absolutely awesome. I love what those two do together, and just the illumination that we get. Little details from the double bass and the lead guitar I felt give the melodies a boost during the chorus as well, which I always think is important sometimes, is just adding these little things that make something a little more catchy, a little more hooky to the listener, and it elevates it up a little bit, separates itself from the rest of the song or even the rest of the album as that chorus, for instance. But really great song right off the bat from Evergrey, opening up. Like I always say, it's great to grab the listener right off the bat. Then we go into Misfortune. This one brings some dark and heaviness of the modern Evergrey feel, and I kind of really attribute that to Johan Niemann's thick bass. What he's done bass-wise for Evergrey on the last handful of albums is just awesome. What his volume and intensity does, he really brings this changes the atmosphere with his bass. I think it's awesome work. But his thick bass and the atmosphere really created a haze over the verse, but the chorus kind of comes alive in a different direction with the added vocal tracks from Tom England. I like this little twist, or not twist, but a little addition, I'd say, is the amount of vocal tracks and volume from Tom England on the chorus here. It really helps separate the chorus as well, and it's something a little bit new. I don't think I've ever actually heard this much volume coming out of Tom England's, or at least like the vocal tracks. So I thought this was nice. It was kind of like an anthem, a bit of a chant sort of feel from Misfortune. But anyways, this darkness I felt kind of, and heaviness continues into to become someone else. This one opens with this poetic, metaphorical singing from Tom England, and I felt like this really did a lot for this track. It breathes this sorrow, cold darkness that unfolds more and more as the song grows, with some huge potent riffs, and this cold landscape for the interlude really creates this interesting contrast of this song, because there's also some interesting contrast between the simple yet effective early riffs and the chorus that has this slight illumination that emulates the lyrics as well. So I thought there was a neat little balance there. And when I say simple yet effective, like, I don't mean simple as in a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to be simple because you can kind of grow off that and make something unique. And simplicity a lot of times is a great way to hook listeners. So I think this album, or this song, has a bit of that hook, but then some of this other atmosphere and complexity as well, to sort of grab all kinds of varying listeners for Evergrey. Overall, this song has quite a mixture of serene atmosphere and intense emotions within it, with these just profound heavy riffs. So really cool track is To Become Someone Else, and kind of leads into another one. So we kind of changed directions again, actually. And then the next one kind of goes a little more groovy, a little more energetic, is Say. This one has plenty of new flavors, so Evergrey's adding some new flavors. We get two keyboard tones, one that screams like the 70s Hammond, like the Doors. I really like that sort of feel that you get from the keyboards there. And then the other sort of keyboards kind of go modernized, and we get these keyboards that sort of dance like stars in the night. The rhythms in the bass actually reminds me of some Pantera. Now people will be like, oh, I don't hear any of that in there, but I just mean the sort of grooviness. that you get, the way the riffs are played and stuff like that. And I felt like it was very much like a groove feel. It was something that I definitely heard and felt from what Rex Brown would do on bass, and that's kind of what I got from, say, not so much maybe as like Dimer, you know, his Pantera feel, even though I guess you could feel that, but I just mean like the bass, the way the bass groove, it did remind me of a, you know, Rex Brown, and a bit of a groovy sort of mood that he would bring, and that's kind of what I got from this track, and that kind of gives say that energy that I was talking about, and separates itself from the last two tracks. And then we go in another direction as well, a more emotional direction in this next track. Now these next two tracks I put together, Ghost of My Hero and We Are the North, and I felt like they were a bit of a chapter because I wasn't sure what to feel from them as they kind of came together, and I felt like, was I supposed to feel sorrow and sadness, or was I supposed to feel frustration and anger? I feel like these two tracks invoke different emotions per person, and based on just little subtleties would, you know, change that in the song, whether it was just the intro, the verse, the chorus. I felt like there was just so many, you know, emotional possibilities in these two tracks for anybody listening to them. I think it would vary from person to person. It's not just something, you know, simplistic and direct. You know, this song's angry, this song's sad, this song's intense. But I feel like there's a unique mixture from these two tracks. And Ghost of My Hero contains such minor subtleties that create such a huge emotional impact. And I think that's the little adjustments is what kind of, I wouldn't say confused me is in a bad way, but just kind of got me, you know, feeling things, you know, as the song grew. You know, like something like the simple, dark chord progression, along with the sad piano chords, and Tom England's ability to reach gut-wrenching sorrow, really creates a passionate odyssey. So as you see, as I'm mentioning that, you have this sadness, but then you have this passion in there as well, which you can kind of think is almost something more positive. So I just thought that was unique. And then you go on to We Are the North, and this is a mix of disheartening, selfish, and hopeful lyrics. At least that's what I got from it. So you have, again, that contradiction, and you get that musically as well, you know, on this, and vocally from We Are the North. And these emotions I really felt like live and thrive with the little drum and riff adjustments, you know, changing that, you know, inflecting that sort of those emotions from verse to verse and elevating those. And the atmosphere also elevates for the chorus, which Tom England adjusts flawlessly with. So his vocals, his emotion changes with the music. So all of a sudden you're going from, you know, maybe sad or selfish and angry to something more hopeful. But yeah, they're really unique. I thought Evergrey did a fantastic job with those emotions and atmospheres created in these two tracks. So I'm very curious, for the few people that watch my channel and listen to the songs, what you picked up from these two tracks. I'm curious if I'm just, you know, thinking something differently. But anyways, pair of great tracks in the middle of the album, really separates itself not only from the album but from their entire discography. Absolutely great. And this next track does that as well. This one really leaps out. You know, it might be more hard hitting and energetic, but it leaps out on the Evergrey discography as well. One Heart. I felt like this was an anthem, and how many anthems do they have? Not many, but I felt like this one was, you know, very commanding and powerful sound, especially in the chorus, with its inspiring lyrics and with strong grandeur, hard-hitting, you know, riffs and drums in that chorus that really leapt out. And the chords, you know, right off the bat in the intro took me back to the Inner Circle and the song More Than Ever. Like I said, it's another throwback to More Than or to the Inner Circle. I just thought the chords progressions kind of reminded me of that track. But One Heart, what an anthem, you know, leaping out towards the end of the album. Now I'm jumping down to my second must-listen, Cold Dreams. And this is another emotional, atmospheric piece. And you'd have to think after 14 albums, it would be hard for Evergrey to write something fresh and have all their songs, you know, separate from one another and stuff like that, especially the more emotional and atmospheric pieces, which is very, very signature to them. But they did it once again in Cold Dreams. And I kind of attribute that, I think, not just from the writing of the music, but Tom England's daughter, Selena, sings on here, and Jonas Rensky of Catatonia, and what they deliver adds such depth, and the way it's you know, they connect with the music. Selena singing here really created this angelic feel to the cold and dreamy atmosphere of the music, and it's almost kind of a bit of a hope, even though it's cold. She brings a little bit of this hope to that. Whereas Jonas' beastly vocals showed us the despair when we're stuck in a cold dream. So we have this unique contrast and conflict there. And I have to say the contrast and conflict of the emotions, atmospheres, and the vocals in Cold Dreams just overall flat out kicks ass on this song. I like what everything unites musically and with the vocals and kind of surrounds them, and they branch out and breathe as well. Awesome song. But you know, I'm gonna end it there. I could talk about every song on this album. They were all really good in my opinion, and that's why I had to pick a couple of must listens, you know, from this album. And but one thing I did want to say was I felt that, you know, once again after 14 albums, Evergrey found a new ways to be creative and experiment a little bit, but not stray too far from what they do, you know, signature wise, and give the listeners some, you know, heaviness, tranquil, progressive, sadness, intensity, and heartfelt emotions throughout, you know, their compositions once again. And I just think they did another awesome job on Theories of Emptiness. Already leading the pack once again. Every single Evergrey release since I've been doing top 10 videos at the end of the year, they've always been at number 1, and I think there's a good chance this one will be number 1. It is definitely leading again with some strong competition behind it, but feel free. I hope you guys check out Theories of Emptiness. All the links for the songs and where to pick up the album and their cool merch will be down in the description below, along with some of my other YouTube channels and that stuff. And I'm really curious what other people think of, you know, what I've said about this album, you know, and what they might have to say or feel about it, and put that in the comments. I like to talk to, you know, discuss that a little bit with people. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy Theories of Emptiness. Until next time, folks, how about some heavy listening?